This is the Nubia Pad Pro disassembly. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and click on notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload a new video. Also, if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, we need to remove the screen. To do that, we need to apply some heat to the screen using either a hairdryer or a heat gun to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then we'll use a pry tool to pry it off. I prefer to use a hairdryer since there's less of a chance of damaging any of the components inside by overheating them. And this is a 10.9-inch display with 2880 by 1990 resolution at 144 Hz and a 16:10 aspect ratio. Once the screen is separated from the frame, it needs to be lifted up from the bottom to the top, and the top being where the front-facing camera is. At this point, there are 3 Phillips screws which need to be removed that are holding down the metal plate, which is covering the connector for the screen cables. Here's a look at the back of the screen. There's graphite or graphene film which is covering a portion of the battery, as well as the motherboard, which needs to be peeled off. And this is part of a 6-layer cooling system which helps transfer heat during heavy gaming or other activity to prevent overheating. Two Phillips screws need to be removed, which are holding on the metal plates over the battery connectors. The battery cables can now be disconnected. "41 additional Phillips screws need to be removed. These are the pins on the bottom for connecting the keyboard. This flex cable connects the subboard or charger port board to the main board. There are 3 total microphones in this tablet, which help to create clear sound and pick up sound over a long distance in multi-person conferences. The primary microphone is located on this subboard, and there is a rubber gasket around the charger port. Looking at the other side, we can see that this flex cable can be separated from the subboard. So the charger port or the subboard would be easily replaceable if it were to get damaged. Taking a look at the main board, we see copper film on the shields to help transfer heat. The connector for the main camera is located on this corner, which can be disconnected by just popping it off. Once the copper film has been peeled back, we can see thermal paste on top of these chips, as well as the RAM, which is seated over the processor. Here's a better look at the RAM, which is seated over the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. It's a 3.3 GHz CPU, and this tablet has UFS 4.0. Looking at the other side, we see the 13 megapixel rear camera, which isn't aimed for photography, but is good enough for scanning documents and general pictures. A secondary microphone on this corner, and another one on the opposite corner, as well as additional thermal paste and copper film over the shield to help transfer heat. Once the copper film has been peeled back, we see a lot more thermal paste underneath on top of the chips. The processor and RAM are directly on the other side of these chips, so it does make sense to have a lot of thermal paste on this side to help transfer heat from underneath the processor. There is an additional Phillips screw which is hidden underneath this protective tape, which needs to be removed. The quad speakers work to give an immersive sound experience. Here's a better look at that. And here's the speaker itself. And all 4 speakers are identical. This looks to just be a placeholder. When it comes to removing the battery, there's no pull pouch or pull tab provided to help you pry it off, so you will need to use some isopropyl alcohol and apply it to the sides of the battery, and let it sit for about 30 seconds to a minute so it eats away at the adhesive underneath, making it easier to pry it off. This is the 10,100 mAh battery. This battery should provide long standby time and give enough power to watch shows throughout the day before needing to recharge. This flex cable and this one connect the speakers to the main board. This coaxial cable is connected to an antenna board. There's an antenna flex cable located here and here. The 20 megapixel front facing camera is located in the top center. Next to that is the light sensor. This is the flex cable for the volume keys, and this one is for the power button. There are also rubber gaskets and mesh filters over the speaker openings on the frame. There's also additional copper tape on the frame to help transfer heat. If you needed to replace the camera bezel on the other side, these 4 Phillips screws would need to be removed in order to release the camera bezel. Now for the repairability score on this tablet, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. As for the weight of this tablet, it's around 523 grams, and it's 7.3 millimeters thick. Now it's time to put it back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the screen. Power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.